Have you ever noticed that after an argument or a fight in your marriage, your body feels tense? It feels off. The stress of what you've just been through, it's affecting you physically. Marriage stress, it doesn't just stay in your mind, it definitely shows up in your body as well. Today on Marriage Unmasked, we are asking the question, is your marriage making you sick?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and this is a real thing for a lot of people. I know for us, we had years and years and years of marriage pain, and so especially when that's the case, where you are going through chronic stress in your marriage, it affected me in a really detrimental way, and it wasn't totally on our marriage. I think that was a big, big part of it, especially living out of a healthy masculine and feminine dynamic, because if you as a woman are living more in your masculine frame, you are already kind of living in this stressed state. And I was a personal trainer. I was a fitness instructor. I was a mom of four little kids,
At that time, yeah.
and I was homeschooling. And then Adam was just starting, like, from the bottom up and starting a new career. He was working all the time.
Yeah, and
And
not making a whole lot of money, so I was working overtime in order to pay the bills.
and then our marriage was really struggling, and had been for a while. And my body was, oh, it was hurting. It was hurting. I was getting headaches almost weekly. They weren't just normal headaches, they were migraines. I was noticing my stomach was hurting more. That's kind of what kind of tipped me over the edge, because the migraines I had kind of grown used to. Not like that was fun. It was absolutely horrible. It was almost like a trauma thing with to have that much pain. But I was exhausted. I was snippy. My nervous system was just not functioning well. And really what was happening was I was going through adrenal fatigue, from all the stress.
And Kara's a very health-minded person.
Yeah.
So she's like supporting her body with all kinds of good
Yes.
nutrients, and she's eating the highest quality food, and she's working out, and so even though she's doing all these things to support her body, the stress and the environment of our marriage and the other things she mentioned were really affecting her physically.
So I had to work for years to heal that. But even after that, after I'd really worked to heal the adrenal fatigue, I also was still experiencing stress from our marriage, because our marriage didn't necessarily heal during that time. It got a little bit better, but then we were still having issues. And I was noticing, if we have an argument, if we have a painful conflict, I can feel it in my body. My neck hurts.
Yeah.
I'll get a headache sometimes. Like, I can just feel the inflammation in my body. Everything just kind of hurts. I didn't sleep well. Like, so much pain really sends your body into this stress response that really affects your health very severely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was affecting my health as well. I know one big area for sure is all the stress of our marriage, and like constantly trying to like work on it and stressing about it was definitely affecting my like testosterone levels, and it was affecting my libido. I mean, we talked about it. We had that whole episode about mismatched sex drives. I mean, this is the time period where I'm like not interested in sex. A lot of that's because of the hormones being off, because the stress is affecting my testosterone levels, and I had like brain fog. I was checking out. I was definitely not sleeping well. All those things were being affected. There's such a stressful environment. It's going to affect both spouses to varying degrees. And again, in an environment where we're eating healthy and we're trying to do all these other things to support ourselves, it was still affecting us very deeply just to go through the stress and the disconnection.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, chronic stress like that, it puts your body into the stress response, like the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And when you get into that stress response, it releases cortisol and adrenaline in your body. And so that's what's connected to the adrenals. I was talking about how I had adrenal fatigue. So your adrenals, that's part of your stress response system that's putting out this cortisol. And so when you're just asking a certain part of your body to overfunction, basically, it can really take its toll on that part of your body. But this can affect you in so many other ways, even beyond the adrenals. It really gets into a dysregulated nervous system is what happens. And you might notice that you're feeling fatigue, right? We mentioned some of these ourselves, but you might notice you're feeling fatigue, that you're having poor sleep, that you have issues, right? Like irritable bowel syndrome, or just you're not digesting your food very well. And so I used to be an adrenal health coach. I used to be in the health and fitness. So I could literally talk about this all day, but I won't do that today. But reach out, please, if you do need help in that area as well. I actually still have my adrenal healing program if you need it. But anyways, so you can also be experiencing things like headaches and migraines, like I was experiencing, muscle pain and tension. I remember just day after day after day, my neck was tight all the time. And it was so irritating to me. And a lot of times then it would turn into a headache. But my neck, it was just almost became like a norm that my neck just hurt every day. And then sometimes you experience anxiety, or if you're noticing heart palpitations, heart issues, because stress does really affect your heart as well. Lowered immune function. That was another thing that I was experiencing. I could go on, right? I could go on, but just know that marriage stress, it is taking a toll. It is having an impact.
And the opposite is also true, that when you do have emotional safety in your marriage, your health can be benefited. The times when you guys are really vibing, when things are going really well, your health is affected in a positive way as well. You have more energy. I know I do. Like when we're really vibing, I have more energy. I greet my day with a renewed sense of purpose and direction, and like I get after it. So it does work the opposite way too, so that if you don't have that emotional safety in your relationship and you have this chronic stress and you have all that, then you have the opposite, and you have all of these health issues that Cara was just mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is your body is keeping the score. I don't know if you've ever read that book. I've read it a couple times. It is such a great book. I highly recommend it for just understanding too, trauma and things like that. But your body keeps the score. I always used to tell my health clients, like, everything is so interconnected in your body. You cannot say, oh, I'm just having a stomach issue or I'm just having anxiety. Everything is really so connected. And so when one part of your body is affected, it is going to affect all different parts of your body. And the trauma that can happen in marriage and the pain, if we have these unhealed wounds, it's staying in your body, right? Your body is keeping a score. That's why we are so passionate about doing the inner healing, because we don't want you carrying around these wounds that are affecting you. They could be affecting you every single day and you're not even aware of it. We might think like, well, the fight's over, or, that part of my marriage is over, right? But your body doesn't just get over it. It really does take still healing. Let's say, for instance, like you were in a very abusive marriage and you got a divorce and you left and now you're safe, but your body still, unless you've worked on healing, your body still keeps the score, right? And these are things that you need to heal.
And that sometimes shows up when you're triggered. Like you because there's a physical response when you're experiencing a trigger from that wound. So you think about that, like even if it's maybe there isn't anything that's making you technically unsafe, but something triggers you back to that experience, and now your breath rate changes, and now your heart's beating faster, and maybe your head starts to hurt or whatever. Like those triggers will actually put you in that response. Those wounds definitely affect your physical health quite a bit. And so we want to talk about how you start to begin to heal these. First of all, you want to become really aware of your body and what it's going through. You want to really understand. And that's something I know I've struggled with in the past. I wonder if men struggle with that a little bit more, like being in tune with their body and like what they're feeling. I mean, you ask me, like, where are you feeling that emotion? And I'm like, I don't know, my spleen, like.
Well, and I think it also goes back to if you were taught emotional awareness, right? If you were taught awareness around these topics, then it's easier for you to be aware of them now. But if you weren't, then it's going to be harder. Yeah. And that's okay. I mean,
and it's something you can learn. Yeah, you can learn it. And so it is good to be aware, be very conscious and aware of how the stress is affecting your body. Where is this showing up? Maybe this is why I'm feeling, tired. This is why I'm feeling these headaches. This is why my neck is tensing up all the time. So be aware of it, notice it, and acknowledge that that's where it's coming from. Ask the question, what am I holding emotionally that may be showing up this way? What am I holding on to? You can even trace it back to like your thoughts. What am I thinking? when I'm feeling tense like this and what emotion is going through my body.
Yeah, and you can even go back. It takes a little investigative work, right? It takes a little bit of reflection, but it's also valuable to like look back and see what are maybe some wounds that you have that you didn't ever fully feel through. You didn't ever heal. Your body is still holding on to those things, and your body is feeling it, right? It's carrying it physically. So I have a long history with migraines. I just mentioned them a little bit,
Yeah.
but I have struggled with them for over 10 years, and I'm talking regular migraines at least every month. Back for a while it was every week. And so I have spent all 10 of those years trying to figure out what is going on because it has been so painful, so challenging. And what I've learned over the many years, over the many migraines, is that it's not just, a lot of people will say, well, maybe check, it's what you're eating. Everybody has their ideas of what they think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of this, it's this, it's this. But really, I believe, at least for me, and I believe that it's for so many others who maybe don't just get relief from trying magnesium glycinate or something like that, that it can be deeper things, right? I had a lot of deep, deep wounds from early on that I had no idea were affecting me. I had no idea. And I'm not even talking in our marriage, I'm talking early on in my life. And I believe that some of those things have still been affecting me. And as I've been healing, doing the inner healing, I am seeing progress in my migraines, right? Like it's not about food. Like Adam said, we are extremely clean and healthy, but there's so much more even that needs attention beyond just your diet and clean products, non-toxic things, right? And so I have had to learn. Yes, it is so needed to reflect and go back and do some of this inner healing work. It can it can change so much for you. I've gone back and forth with kind of thinking like maybe I should just live with this, like just give up on trying to ever get healing for my migraines. But God kind of kept putting it on my heart, like don't give up. And then he was letting me know, like, yeah, he is healing me. And so through that journey, I've just been able to start to look at what are some of these things, what are some of the traumatic things that my body is still carrying.
Yeah.
And so I do encourage you, and like Adam said before, when you get triggered, that can be a great opportunity to have this kind of window into what is it triggering you back to, right? And you can start to ask yourself, and we teach this all in our Healing Your Marriage course. We have a whole module on inner healing where we kind of walk you through this step by step because it can get a little confusing, it can get a little overwhelming. And so if you need support in that, definitely look into our Healing Your Marriage course. But the second thing into how to begin healing is to regulate your nervous system. So when big pain is coming up for you, or when you are, in a stressful time in your marriage, it is so important to prioritize regulating your nervous system. For me, I like to practice breath work often, where, one of my favorites is like inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, and then exhale for 8. And I only have to do that a couple times because it really does regulate your nervous system pretty quickly. Yeah. But I like to practice that one often. And then, because you're breathing, it's amazing how quickly you can calm your nervous system. And then sometimes, like going for a walk, that can be very regulating for your nervous system, to get out in nature and the sound of the birds and the fresh air can really regulate your nervous system. Meditation. I remember when I was going through the adrenal healing, and my naturopathic doctor, one of the first things she recommended for me was to start doing meditation. And so calming your body down for a while, like even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, again, focusing on the breathing and just, really getting back into your body can be so helpful.
Yeah, and spending some really deep time with God is always such a safe place. And when you spend that deep time with Him, your body can relax. When you're talking to God, when you're praying, that's a very powerful way to regulate things a bit too.
Mm-hmm. Also, when you talk with a therapist or a coach like us, we love to provide safety and validation for our clients. And that really helps regulate their nervous system, right? When they feel this is a valid thing, right? And I can feel this emotion safely here. That can be really a wonderful way to regulate the nervous system. Journaling, that's another really great one. Good, yeah. And then I think, it's so, we're so busy, right? You hear that word busy, busy, busy. I'm so busy. Taking time intentionally to rest every day. And I'm not even talking about going to sleep. I'm talking about extra rest. Yeah. Right? I honestly, I take a nap every day. I may not always sleep, but I lay down, I close my eyes, I allow my body to rest. My brain then processes a lot of the things. I don't really have a hard time sleeping because I allow my brain to process things throughout the day in periods of rest. There's so many people that have a hard time sleeping because when they finally lay down, they got a whole day's worth for their brain to try to process. And so they're just thinking, 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 their mind is racing, right? Yeah. But if you take times during the day to rest, you allow yourself to process and to rejuvenate and re-energize. And it's really a beautiful gift to give yourself.
Yeah, and another thing to do is to take some breaks from screen time. Like put your phone down for a while. I know Cara does this amazing thing where she takes the entire day of Sunday and takes it off of her phone. There's so much distraction and so much like constant attention to the phone that can really kind of dysregulate you over time as
absolutely
you're getting all these notifications. It's just attention grabbing all the time, and it's hard to relax when you have that constant distraction.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and part of that, taking intentionally time to rest, is to be really careful about what you say yes to. Be really choosy. I think we live in a time where we think more, 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 right? And I understand there's so many good things that we can say yes to, but we have to learn to really protect what we value the most. And that means saying no. That means saying no to things that are good, even good things. Sometimes we have to say no to for a season. Those are some ways to really start to regulate your nervous system.
Yeah. And then the third way to really heal from this is to create pockets of safety in your marriage, especially when your marriage is feeling unsafe. So that may look like setting a boundary. A very concrete example of this is when we talk about taking a break during a difficult conversation where you're becoming really unregulated in the conversation and you need to take a very intentional break, communicate that to your spouse, and you take that time to regulate yourself and to reset. That's a pocket of safety that you can take when you're feeling unsafe. And that's very important to do because if you don't take those pockets of safety, then you're just going to experience the full range of that stress.
Yeah. And then it cannot be stated enough, but God not only sees what you are crying out to Him, or we've talked about like how you can come to God as a safe place. You can come to Him for rest, crying out to Him. But he sees not just those things that you're crying out to Him, but He also sees the burden in your body, right? He knew about the burden in my body, the things that I was carrying before I did. He knew about those things. And as I'm begging Him for healing and I'm feeling like, why is the healing not coming that I'm begging Him for? He knew, right? He knew that it was coming. He knew that I was going to learn these things. He was going to provide healing for me. You don't have to carry it all. I think that is such a great reminder is, He says in Matthew 11, He says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. And I think it's just such a great reminder to tell ourselves often, I don't have to carry it all. That is such a gift. It's such a gift that sometimes we forget to use, right? He is doing the hard work. We can really sink into that and relax into that, even in our marriage stress, right? We can't change our spouse. We can't fix our whole marriage by ourselves, but God can, and He is doing the beautiful healing work that you're needing, especially when you're crying out to Him and asking for that and inviting Him into the process.
Yeah, it reminds me of that passage, take my yoke on you, because my yoke is easy and my burden is light. We're yoked together with Him, and He is really doing the bulk of the work. We don't have to stress out as if it is all up to us because He is really doing, He's doing what most of what needs to be done to really move things along.
Mm-hmm. And this is the kind of work that I do inside Restored with wives who are carrying so much, right? I help them to find safety, find ways to, process these things and get their wholeness back, right? Get back to who they really are instead of this very stressed masculine version of themselves that their body is going to try to keep them safe. So even when your marriage is still so painful, you can come and get the support and the guidance you need inside Restored. And I know this is the work that you
Exactly.
are
Yeah.
offering for men in Refined.
Yeah, and in my group Refined, we work on inner healing, what's really needed to provide that safe place where guys can go deep with each other and really explore some of these things that are hurting them. And this is a safe place to process those things and not necessarily, stress or burden on the wife for that, but among other guys, we can process some of these wounds and some of this pain that's going on inside of a man's heart, and then he can find healing and help there, and that will help him show up more regulated in his relationship as well.
Mm-hmm. So we would love to hear from you if you have any questions, if you are experiencing this, if this was relatable, let us know. We'd also love it if you would rate and review the podcast, and share it on social media and get the word out because there are too many couples that are feeling the stress and they're feeling it not just in their hearts but in their bodies. This is actually one of the reasons I pivoted from health coaching to marriage coaching is because I noticed so many of the women I was working with who had adrenal fatigue, they had the marriage pain.
Yeah.
And so we have to get to the root. And that's what we want to help you do too. So we hope this was just so helpful and we will see you next time.